I was shocked by how good this incredibly underrated deck was in High Infinite. This is Move Bounce, a deck that has been championed by Sizer in recent days, and I gotta tell ya, it feels like it is incredibly well positioned into a fairly diverse metagame right now. In as much as you can call the metagame that is probably 40% RSM diverse, it is diverse relative to where we were about a week ago, and this deck has a lot of game into a lot of the things people are trying. Baseline to understand what this deck is doing is you are creating an enormous amount of points and you are maintaining your ability to distribute them where needed. This is a classic strategy to try to actually beat Arishem, which is very limited in terms of the lanes it can contest. It has to contest very specific lanes because most of the time, outside of maybe a Mockingbird, you are going to be playing one large unit on turn 5, maybe one unit on turn 6. And that means that being able to pick and choose, move your stuff around, and get to a situation that you are confident you are going to win is actually extremely strong into Arishem. The only cards I felt that could actually slow me down out of that deck were Leech and Dr. Octopus. Leech, a little bit better, I think. Dr. Octopus we can deal with various bounce shenanigans, but Leech is an actual problem for what this deck is trying to do. Both of them can be played around in certain ways, but generally, if you just want to understand the gist of this deck, your goal is to put together all of the separate pieces that you have into something extremely large. Usually that's a big Human Torch, a big Dagger, recycling your 1-drops that move cards with Beast and Falcon in order to move more cards. You're setting up these incredibly powerful turn 5 beasts, which can return multiple cards to your hand that are move enablers, as well as copy sages or bounce sages. Tons of powerful things you can do in this deck. And one card I especially want to shout out is Shadow King. Shadow King is very strong in a deck like this because nobody really expects him, and he is the only tech card you can reasonably fit into your curve. So Shadow King will get rid of an entire blob right now, which is a very powerful thing to do. It will reset Athena down to a maximum of 4. It will shrink opponent Angelas. It will shrink opposing Sages. You can set up so that you almost always do not have priority on the final turn of the game, which means that you are very advantaged in terms of your Shadow King hitting stuff that is going to be very relevant. Ghost Spider has 2 attributes that make it incredibly useful in this deck: moving cards and costing 1. Being able to recycle this effect is a big part of the power of the deck. Moving something like a Vulture, recycling both of them with a Beast, that is the main thing that this card is going to be doing. So the one major upside to Ghost Spider as opposed to Iron Fist is that if you want to bounce the thing that is moving, you can always Ghost Spider it into the location that you are then beasting. That can lead to some turns where you're creating just like massive units. And when you are doing stuff like this, your opponent is not going to be able to really profitably interact with them unless they're punishing you for priority. And the punishes for priority are pretty limited in this metagame. Negasonic, Arishem, those are real. But right now, this deck is just able to mostly operate with impunity because everything everyone's doing is actually like, it's Shang-Chi related, right? Shang-Chi's probably the most played card in the game right now. This deck gets to have big numbers and also dodge Shang-Chi via priority. Human Torch is one of your 3 move payoffs here and does have the distinct advantage of costing 1, meaning that you can do multiple repetitions of Human Torch growing with Falcon. I do think that generally this card is going to end up being smaller than Dagger unless you are getting those multiple repetitions. So if you are limited on repetitions, it might not be the best thing to invest into Human Torch. But that said, he is the one that scales the best with repeated moves. Cards like Hercules, the ability to bounce your 1-drops and replay them with Human Torch. He's the one that scales the absolute highest with those repetitive moves. So it's kind of a floor versus ceiling thing. If you only ever have 2 moves in the entire game, Dagger is usually a better bet. But if you're getting up to like 3, 4, 5, then Human Torch becomes far preferable, and he is able to be Falcon. Iron Fist is a little worse than Ghost Spider. I think it's very easy to be worse than Ghost Spider in a deck like this, but this is still a card that moves a card and is bounceable. He's a little bit harder to play because you have to like actually think ahead for, okay, when am I beasting? What happens if I draw beast? How do I want to set up my lanes such that I can play the card beast profitably? How much do I care about bouncing this guy to my hand costing 0? How much do I care about getting my payoffs back in hand? Do I have another payoff? Am I trying to like vulture and leave a vulture at 9 on the board and then bounce the Iron Fist back so I can use it with a dagger later? That kind of stuff is kind of the thought process you're going to have with this deck. It is very intricate and genuinely very difficult to play. As befits Nico Minoru, with so many spells, she does so many things. Obviously, a lot of people are going to zero in on the fact that she can move stuff, which, yeah, that's pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie to you. But there's also other plays where, like, if you can set up, like, let's say it's turn 4 and you have the clone, what you can do with that is play a sage, then bounce a sage, so you get 2 sages into your hand going into, like, the next turn. That is an extremely powerful thing that you can do that doesn't require any move setup at all and creates an enormous amount of power. In terms of drawing 2 cards, yeah, you love drawing 2 cards in a deck like this because you tend to be reliant on these sort of specific combinations of cards, the 1-drops in Falcon, the whatever you can set up with Beast, copying Sages. Like, you need to have a sort of critical mass of cards, which helps you have the right ones at the right time. So obviously, drawing 2 is great. Turning stuff into a demon, not used as much unless it is turn 6. And of course, just generally giving points to, say, a Human Torch can really accelerate the rate at which it starts going upwards in terms of power. Dagger is the move payoff in this deck that is easiest to scale with limited moves. And that means that it is typically a card that does not require the same investment. So if you are, for example, I'm going to make a Vulture at 9 and then bounce my Ghost Spider and my Iron Fist back, and then it's like, okay, that's actually fine because I can use the Ghost Spider and the Iron Fist for Dagger, and that is going to be about 4 energy for about 20-something power, usually. Dagger onto a full lane is 12. Dagger on from a full lane to another full lane is usually just kind of unbeatable, and that is something that is fairly common right now. There are usually 3 or 4 units in most lanes when the game ends, which makes Dagger the biggest scaler here. Obviously, you do, as a deck like this, have some struggles with games where Dagger is not going to be doing that. Like if the Space Throne shows up, or one of those locations like Deep Space, right? Like there are issues with this plan, but those are issues with every deck that is trying to rely on card text. Dagger is maybe the best move target in the entire game right now. Beast is honestly such a problem. Like this card is so much of what makes this deck good. The critical mass of having both Falcon and Beast is like a huge deal. Either one of these, if you don't have it, the deck is kind of unplayable because you need to be doing at least one of them. You want to be doing both of them if you can. Like, this is a powerful, powerful card. You have multiple 1-drops that discounting to 0 is incredible for. Having those extra enablers for free on the final turn of the game is amazing. Getting a Dagger back to your hand is amazing. But really, it is about those enablers because this deck, I mean, you're trying to win 2 lanes, right? So you usually need 2 things that scale, whether that be, a Vulture and a Dagger, or a Sage and a Clone Sage, right? All of those are plays that Beast enables better than any other card in the deck. We've talked about how you have to win 2 locations and how sometimes because you're investing heavily into one move unit, that can be a little bit problematic. Shadow King really helps bridge that gap right now. A lot of the time, this is actually just 2 energy, goes a long way towards winning a location. He's not going to be 2 energy win a location the way he has been in previous metas, but this can be like a 2-7, a 2-8, a 2-9, a 2-10. And because you don't have priority, you can be like, oh, I get it. They're saging me. Sage no longer exists because of this card. Like, there's a lot of real upside in playing this card right now, a lot of legitimate power, and I think he's kind of like the secret weapon of this deck because nobody really expects him right now, and that is always the best time to be a Shadow King gamer. Falcon is worse than Beast in most situations that you'll run into in this deck, but what is notable about Falcon is he's sort of idiot-proof. it's actually pretty easy for you to mess up your situation and be like, okay, I need this, 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 and this, and I want to be able to beast these 3 cards. And like, look, I'm a good Marvel Snap player, but it's really easy to mess up ordering in this deck. It's really easy to do. In one of the highlights later, you will see me Ghost Spider a Dagger that is already on the lane with the Ghost Spider. It's just one of those things that happens because you're taking so many game actions and you have to think through all of them. So Falcon's upside is that he's idiot proof, right? You're not going to mess up Falcon unless there's like maybe some extra 1-drops on the board. You are very rarely going to mess up Falcon. And being idiot proof is actually pretty nice because while this deck is a deck that really wants to beast to get that free stuff on the final turn of the game, it is fairly well able to do something like final turn Iron Fist Dagger Sage and like come out ahead. It is able to do stuff like that. And that is not nothing. It's just Beast tends to be better when you're playing fully optimized. Falcon being idiot proof is relevant. Sage is like for those games where you only really draw one of the move payoffs, because when you're in those situations, usually it means like you have Beast, you have Falcon, you have the other stuff, but you only have one piece of payoff. And since you get put in those situations a little bit too much, you need to be able to win lanes that are not like the main lane. The advantage of a deck like this is when you're in those situations, the move payoff that you're doing that many times is almost uncontestable. It's gonna win whatever the most contested lane is, but you're still gonna need to win, ideally, the least contested lane, and that's sort of what Sage's job is. She's here to like, just like, oh, you know, they have like a bunch of small stuff in there, Sage will win that, and you do need that ability. Vulture is probably the worst of the move cards with like fairly minimal investment, and the more you invest into him, like he's not as good at Dagger if you're gonna want to do that multiple times. If you have so many, he's not as good as Human Torch, but he is good. Like I don't want you to look at this and be like, oh, Vulture sucks. Vulture's very good and goes very well with something like Hercules. Like if you have Vulture into like Hercules, if you're like Hercules into like Vulture Ghost Spider, that's just a 15 power dude. Like that's really, really good. And so like there is something to be said for those games where it's just like, yeah, look, you know, Vulture, he's not as good, but he scales off of Hercules like nobody's business. And there really is something to that. And that is a thing that will matter a lot of the time. I don't want anyone to look at this and be like, you know, Cam said Human Torch and Dagger were better. I think they are, but Vulture definitely pulls his weight in a list like this. I have been, and I don't know a better way to put this, shocked by how good Hercules is in this deck. He is like the Shuri of this stuff. You know how I talked about how you really have to get as much as you possibly can out of your small amount of cards that actually move cards? This guy is how. This guy can turn a Ghost Spider, a Payoff, and a Falcon into enormous numbers, right? Being able to double that proc is a really, really, really big deal because you don't have a lot of things that actually move cards. So you need to get as much value as you can out of the ones that do. And Hercules adding that is so unbelievably good. So much of this deck is about doubling the efficiency of Iron Fist and Ghost Spider. And that is what Hercules does nearly as well as something like Beast and Falcon. Not as well, but like he is in that vein in terms of how this deck plays out. Nocturn is just a generally quite solid card. And I think the main reason I've enjoyed Nocturn is because you do have a non-zero weakness to like Doc Ock Limbo decks. And having an out in the deck to that stuff, I find to actually be pretty important because I'm already fairly okay at, you know, I feel good playing this deck into a lot of Arishem stuff, just based on the numbers I'm going to be creating, based on the fact that I can, like, with a reasonable draw, probably just have more points than them. I don't feel great about Doc Ock stuff, and I do think it is worthwhile to have a card like this in the deck. I would say she's probably a flex slot, but I honestly cannot come up with a better option. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that look at what I gotta tell you is one of the most fun and underrated decks that I have played in a while. I was particularly impressed with this deck. It constituted like the majority of my climb for a stream in only like 18 or 20 games. That is awesome. So huge kudos to Sizer for like identifying this. I think that is so cool. And I'm really impressed with how this deck plays out. I think it could be legitimately a good sleeper, maybe even a great one. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe. I have been KM Best. You have been phenomenal, and I will see you in the next one. I don't think I'm supposed to play out a Human Torch on turn 1. I think I am meant for greater things. Anything change that make me want to play it out on 2? This makes me want to play it out on 2 because of Falcon specifically. Oh, I get it. Dagger's a better hit here, but I need to be able to reuse my stuff. And I want to not draw on Vibranium Mines as much as I possibly can. Okay. I am a beast away from instantly winning this game, I think. Oh, there it is. Okay, so... Iron Fist, Human Torch, Ghost Spider Beast. Let's snipe block this up. We all know what's happening here. I'm gonna assume they're fucking out of here. But let's, you know, in a world where they're not. Let's see if I ordered correctly. There's always a chance I just totally beefed the ordering here. Always a chance I just totally beefed the ordering here. Hey, I actually did totally beef the ordering here. It didn't matter, but I did wildly fuck up. We lost 12 points on a Dagger. Wait. Okay. That's the worst hit. By so much, that is the worst hit. Arg, brother. What are you arguing about? What do you have to argue about this game? The fuck? Jesus. Oh my god. That's what they were arguing about. Okay, chat, we figured out what their arguing was. I would love to draw 2 cards. I'm not gonna lie to you. I will happily sacrifice a Shadow King for the ability to draw 2 cards. Good God, yes. Armor. What are we supposing that means? Yep. Whoa, they snap me? What do we suppose is happening here? That's very fine with me. Boy, this is actually kind of awkward. Yes! By a tiny amount, maybe? Yes, baby. Yes. No, baby, no! What the fuck? Hold in the other two lanes. No. Fuck you. Imagine thinking you know what to do. You fucking idiot. Great web. Heimdall works in this deck? Does, actually, yeah. Yeah, we ended up with 3, 5, 8, but they lost 10 power there. I feel like I'm ordering everything wrong, but it won't matter till I get a beast or a falcon. Maybe I was supposed to Sage and bounce it, actually. Maybe I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm stupid. This Doc Ock shit is crazy. I hate Doc Ock. I'm not worried about playing move. I'm worried about, like, this specific Doc Ock. The Doctor of the Octopod. Oh, fuck. Right on time, you stupid piece of shit, Nocturn. Truly bizarre game. Wait, what am I waiting? Iron Fist mid, then Dagger right. Runs a real risk of filling up this location if they, like, Titania. No, I mean, I like doing that too, but it runs a super big risk of filling up the location if it's Titania. Yeah, see? Look at that. Look at that. See, now we, like, easily win this game. Like, maybe the most easily anyone has ever won any game of Marvel Snap of all time. Got it, buddy. Nobody plays around the fucking Shadow King out of this deck. GG. God. That's so much less bad for me than it is for them. Or that's so much more bad for me than it is for them. Dude, no ghost spider. We're fucked. This hand with the ghost spider fucks. This hand without a ghost spider sucks. Okay, they are somehow doing worse things than we are, which is wild. Whoa! Whoa! My God. My God. I see what they were going for, because I did think about doing that. It's real tough. So the way I think this is going is multiple sages. Solid. Yeah, the rocks blocked Ghost Spider, which I hate. Assuming a Shang-Chi is coming down on Limbo, and maybe Shadow King is coming down on mid. This is 6 plus 8 is 14. 15, 16? No, that doesn't work. Wow. Read my ass. We're dead. Wait. Skin of our teeth, baby. Skin of our teeth, baby. I will try to get a shoot going soon. Drops are on. Why are people asking that? Do I have, like, is there something going on with my thing? Holy shit. Oh my god, there's gonna be so much moving around here. Yeah, drops are on. I think. Yeah, like ping pong. Dude, these Herculeses are about to ping pong each other. Hell yeah, brother. Fuck out of here. Alright, so then next turn is Iron Fist, Human Torch, Falcon. No! Holy crap. I needed those cards. Wow, we're geniuses. It's fine. Human Torch, Ghost Spider. No, never mind. Should have been Dagger instead of the Ghost Spider, maybe? Instead of the Human Torch, maybe? That's some shit. Does this win? doubt it, kinda, right? Well, we beat Shang. It's really a question of the left lane. And, like, because we beat Shang, we could do something like try to attack the middle lane like this, which would give us a pretty big Sage. Wait, what? Oh, I had priority. I'm fucked. Oh! Somehow we did it! Oh my god. This wasn't entirely your fault. What I was referencing was your audio issues. Sorry, I just remembered. We talked about those, right? Yeah. I just, like, completely spaced on what I was talking about, and I was like, I don't know, nothing. No, you didn't do anything. They snap me because they're a Blarvel deck, right? I'll snap back. Because I have Nocturn to turn that shit off. So we go -4 here. I'm gonna unsnipe block this. They go to 18 on Onslaught Citadel. Dagger Ghost Spider is 14. So what we can do is Dagger, move Nocturn, Ghost Spider. So that is 19. Wait, why do I do it like that? That's dumb. It goes Vulture. I lost. I think. Wait, no, that's an 8-power Sage. I won. Wow, that was so close. What the fuck? We would have lost if not for that random Nocturne just paid us back by turning off Strong Guy. Nocturne just paid us back by turning off Strong Guy. They drew 2 cards. This was off. Holy shit. That was so hard. Nocturne loves chaos, and I'm here for it. I feel like there was better math to do, right? Because what I was trying to figure out was, like, can I win this lane with just a Sage? And the answer was Nocturne Sage probably gets it, because it's the same 16 Sage. But you'll notice, we actually got the fucking nowhere. Like, this shit actually happened.